TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdy Misfit Podcast.
Hello.
Hopefully we are functioning. We're going to just give it a second and see if the stream catches up and if there's audio and everyone can hear us and all that good stuff. Because if not, then, well, shit, it's working.
There we go. We are live, folks.
Holy mother of God.
Wow, look at us go.
It's actually working.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the first ever live Nerdy Misfit podcast. Stream? Recording?
Both. Technically, it's both. A
little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah, so obviously this is our first ever live episode, so it's going to be a little bit all over the place. Generally, we do have a sheet made up here to kind of go through some topics as normal. And from there, we'll take on any questions if they pop up in chat. Matt will have the chat open. Yep. My scuff setup will just allow me to only look at this phone every now and then. Matt Lewis, let's get it.
Hello.
Zach, second. There was never a
Isaac's
first.
first. No, there was a first.
I pulled it up too late. My apologies. Yep. So my
everyone.
scuff chat is looking at this phone every now and then. So Matt will be mostly in charge of the chat.
I'll be the chat guy.
But yeah, we'll be diving into some just
a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything that the Nerdy Misfit kind of handles. I guess to start, the big reason for the stream is that we're celebrating 3 years of the podcast.
That we are, which is crazy because it's just crazy.
Never thought we'd be there. Haven't missed a week, which is pretty impressive. If I do say, I don't mean to
160-ish weeks almost at this point.
More here, but
we're doing pretty good.
Haven't missed a week yet, and we've been apart because we do record in person.
Yep.
For people that don't know, and even when we've been a plane ride away, we've still managed to have it happen.
Vacations, et cetera. I mean, there's been some weeks where I am editing on the Tuesday night, the night before the episode comes out.
Thumbnail gets made right after that, and it's there's some stressful days for sure, but it's been fun, and obviously we're having a fun time doing it. And thank you to all of you who've subscribed, who listen, follow us on, if you're just listening on Spotify or any other podcast platform. We really appreciate it. And it's just a hint, wink, nudge, if you're new around here.
Welcome to the Nerdy Misfit.
You can hit that subscribe button and join us every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, 9 a.m. usually, hopefully.
If all goes right. If all goes right. If all goes right, then it's at 9 a.m. On top of that, it's also Troy's birthday. That's T. Roy Jenkins. He's one of our members of the Nerdy Misfit for the Nerdy Misfit Gaming. He streams every Tuesday. He actually just wrapped up Spider-Man 2 and is currently playing a Pokemon Emerald ROM hack. So check him out Tuesdays, Nerdy Misfit Gaming. He's a swell guy. We appreciate him a lot and hope he has a very happy birthday.
For some upcoming news. Obviously, we do Anime of the Month every month here on the Nerdy Misfit podcast. This month is Delicious in Dungeon. And if you've not ready or you're new, every month we pick an anime, watch it, review it, and then we pick another one for the month after. So if you want to join that, please do, as we have a roll in a thread in the Anime of the Month in the Discord. A little heads up that for the month of June, we'll be watching The Apothecary Diaries. And there's a guy at work. He's been bugging me and been like, when are you going to watch Apothecary Diaries? So I'm like, dude, I got to wait till June. He's like,
why? You don't have to wait till June.
I know I don't have to, but I like to watch it within the month. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. But yeah, Delicious in Dungeon is the Anime of the Month. It's on Netflix for people in Canada. I 100% recommend it so far. If you are a casual anime watcher, just wanting to watch an anime that's nice 24 eps for the time being, this is it. This is the anime for you.
Yep. And further future episodes we also have coming up are the summer anime preview, of course. That'll be a little bit closer as we get to the summer anime season. On top of that, we also will be doing a what you're reading, what you're watching, etc. Obviously, we'll probably be covering just a bit of that, but we're going to try not to dive too in depth But those are some episodes. And then the biggest one that we're looking forward to is actually the Anime Awards, brought to you by Crunchyroll, which we did a previous episode giving our votes. You can go check that out on our YouTube channel. And yeah, we're obviously going to react. Hopefully, we'll have Gray on to react. So, you know, we have some continuity there, but we'll see if that happens or not.
And also, more stuff. We've been working on a new series that will be coming out sooner than later on Mondays.
No way.
That's it. Two contents a week so far. Yeah, we have begun to watch the MCU in release order, not chronological order, because if they do some random prequel in the future, then it messes everything up. So release order. And yeah, we'll be releasing videos once a week on Mondays. We are going to be calling it Marvel Mondays. We're so good at that.
We're so creative.
And we just go over what we like, what we didn't like, how it affects the MCU. And yeah, we've recorded a few episodes, and I'd say it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. It's interesting going back to like the start of the MCU and realizing how much has changed, how it's grown. Like right from the first Iron Man, you know, and we were there when Endgame happened in the theaters. They had opening night, so it's just crazy to me. But yeah, expect those to start releasing probably in the summer.
Yep, closer to the summer. We just want to make sure
Get it good in the.
we're ahead of the game, and we make sure we are actually able to release them every Monday. Is the big thing, for sure.
Not anime, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So yeah, and then after the MCU, we'll kind of play it by ear. I'm thinking potential
That's a year away.
non-Marvel films or
Non-Marvel
Marvel films that
films.
aren't MCU related. You know, maybe some Daredevil. You know, you never know. You never know. Maybe some shows, cartoons, etc. But we'll see how you guys react, and we can judge it based on that.
The feedback, if you guys like it, if you don't like it, etc. We're also slowly working on releasing content on Fridays eventually, but don't get your hopes up quite yet, because we're just thinking whatever fits our fancy.
Basically, not Marvel content and
Not Marvel and
the
not-
podcast.
Exactly.
Something else.
That would bring us to like 2 videos a week plus the actual podcast. So if you guys have any ideas what you guys want those Fridays videos to be like, it'd probably only be like, I'd say 20, 25 minutes tops.
Yeah, probably even less, 15. If you want Matt to break down your favorite DC character or random character, we can do stuff like that. We could do breaking down some different lore or geography aspects of different shows. Whatever we feel like and whatever you guys want. That's what what the goal will be.
And obviously, we've just already chatted about this briefly, but yes, the Nerdy Misfit Gaming, we have a gaming channel, so shout out to Troy, happy birthday, and Eddie. Both of them are working hard over on the gaming channel. And yeah, so go check out Troy's stream every Tuesday. Check out those shorts that Eddie's making. And if you guys want Connor or myself to jump in occasionally, you might see us there.
Yep, there's potentially
There is potential.
there's some ideas where it could get interesting for some games.
I'm not good at video games,
That's
so if
also
you
not
guys
good,
want to
yeah.
see me to fail,
That's true.
then that is the place to go.
Yep, maybe you never know. Could be some Minecraft server shenanigans. Maybe we do a Baldur's Gate run together. Who knows what type of shenanigans we can all get up to on the Nerdy Misfit Gaming. Dive into some of our big usual topics, if you will. Shall we start with Star Wars, which is our least big topic?
Least big topic. Sometimes I wish it was bigger, but that's okay. Andor Season 2 just finished 2 days ago. I'm still watching Season 1. Sorry, guys. But I've heard good things. We're not going to spoil what happens at the end of Andor Season 2, but I've heard about it. I'm intrigued. Obviously, it
wraps up
leads into Rogue One.
Exactly.
So that's not really spoiling. There's a couple mini plot twists that happen at the end that people were surprised about. Connor, are you excited for Ahsoka Season 2?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the full cast, if you will, of what everyone kind of thought was going to be part of Ahsoka. But yeah, seeing the full Rebels cast will be super fun. Seeing them all interact once again together, first time in live action all together, would be super good time. There were definitely pros and cons of the first season of Ahsoka, but I have faith that they have learned their lessons. Disney's great at learning their lessons when it comes to Star Wars.
You mean they gave Dave Filoni more control?
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Definitely, it's definitely up there for my Star Wars content so far from Disney, but that's a very
Not really a high
it's very low
bar
bar.
for the most part, right?
and it still wasn't
So-
definitely wasn't perfect.
No, there was definitely
Skeleton
hiccups
Crew's
in-
probably the best content we've gotten.
which is so wild because no one watched Skeleton Crew, and it is arguably like I can't speak for Andor, but of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows that I've seen, Skeleton Crew is
If you're listening and
arguably
you're
the
Star Wars
best.
fan, and you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's worth it.
Go watch Skeleton
It's good.
Crew. Kind of going off topic, but still on the topic. Connor, you've been in the reading these days. You've been reading a lot more books. Would you ever jump in the Star Wars lore through the books? Would you kind of stay away? Are you happy with your movies and Disney Plus shows?
don't know if I'd say I'm happy with the movies or Disney Plus shows necessarily, but I will say I do watch Star Wars YouTube channels that cover some lore of Star Wars. I'm pretty content with that, or like they'll do the comic reads where they'll like read some of the comics.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get into reading the Star Wars novels. Maybe some of the like the audiobooks that have the like more music and all the cool effects.
I would say 90% of the Star Wars audiobooks always have those special effects, the like more dramatic stuff to it in comparison to a lot of other audiobooks. Like the one I'm listening to right now is like chapter 7, and then it's just always like space and then just fun.
Yeah, I can see myself listening to some of the audiobooks if I'm in the mood. But I don't see myself
for a hardcore sci-fi.
going out of the way to read Star Wars. I still have the remainder of Dune to read. Yeah. So, you know.
Would you like stay in the Skywalker saga? Would you go away from the Skywalker saga?
Yeah, I'd definitely go away. I'm pretty sure. I feel like I speak for most people when I say we don't need more. Yeah, well, we can go back. I would prefer to go back in time, see some of how we got where we are, see different Siths, you know, see how the Rule of One came to be, or the Rule of Two came to be,
The
and
Darth Bane trilogy.
that could be fun. Do you think solo Star Wars movies are a bad idea?
Yeah, do you think like the Han Solo movie, or like obviously when we talked about the information that came out on Star Wars Celebration a couple episodes ago, they talk about how like Taika Waititi is getting his own solo movie, and we have that Ryan Gosling one-off Star Wars film that comes out in 2027. Do you think those are good ideas? Do you think they're bad ideas? Should we stick to the trilogy format of Star Wars stuff?
No, I think single films are good. They're better because a trilogy, you have to commit to doing the trilogy, right? Whereas if you do a single film and it's just good, you get to accept that you made a good Star Wars film. Where just look at the sequel trilogy. You have is it the best film ever? No. Is it basically just a retelling of episode 4? Kind of. But it was good. It was a good setup, and people were intrigued to see what would come. But they didn't have anything else set up, and then it sucked. So I think...
Do you think the trilogy definitely fell flat?
Yeah, I think if you just have a story beginning to end for just a one-off story you want to tell, I think go ahead and tell it. You don't need to have a trilogy attached to it. We'll probably get better Star Wars content that way.
I would overly agree with that. I think a good adhesive story from start to finish across a couple of movies is not necessarily a bad idea, but we've seen it good and we've seen it bad, right?
Absolutely.
Moving on, we'll jump to a different category here. DC. Did you watch the new Superman trailer?
I've not watched the new Superman trailer. I'm trying not to super spoil myself or get myself too excited.
Yeah.
I think the first Superman trailer did enough where it told me nothing really in terms of what's exactly going on, but it had enough hints to make me excited. And, it gives you glimpses at, we get to see Crypto. We get to see the some of the Justice League members, if you will. I don't know how you exactly feel about seeing the Green Lantern. I did see a clip recently talking about how it's Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern ring also.
It is, yeah. It is the same.
So I don't know if they're just trolling or what's going on there. But yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up, so I haven't seen the second trailer yet because I don't want to get too excited. But from the first trailer, I will say, if all goes well from a story point of view, it looks like it's in the right direction, which isn't what you can say as of late for a lot of DC.
I am doing my best not to get my hopes up because we've seen what happens when you do a reboot of the DC universe or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and your first movie is you have your main character, and then you introduce almost a dozen other characters that are going to impact that universe all in one movie, and it doesn't end well. And we've seen this both in Marvel movies and in DC movies, where Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and those had prequels to them, like they led into that, but like Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do well because they introduced too many villains.
Yeah, I think
Spider-Man 3 was not the best either.
the Superman, we don't have any really true context of what the story truly is.
Yeah.
There, obviously, we see different characters from the Justice League, and my thought process is more of it's gauging like this is where we're at, like this is where Clark is at in his life right now.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, how we saw in the Fantastic Four for the MCU, it's clear that they're an already established team.
Yeah.
So it looks like Superman's already a clearly established superhero in the world, which
Yeah,
is a nice
sure.
way of going. So it almost would make sense to be able to see some more heroes that he would probably interact with.
Yeah, I will say that it's confirmed that I don't know if they're calling it the Justice Society, Justice League International, the team with Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern, they're going to be in Peacemaker Season 2. They were in the trailer for it, and I guess it's like Peacemaker trying to apply to be part of the group, and they're be like, no, bro. And it's same actors and stuff, because obviously they're all friends with James Gunn, so not surprising.
That's just
but,
director thing. That's that's very
yeah.
common.
But yeah, like in the trailer for Superman, in the first one even, you see like 3 or 4 bad guys, and that's what worries me more.
Yeah, like how is there going to be a coherent story? Some of it could be flashbacks for all we know.
Could be flashback, could be the Rhino situation from Amazing
Yeah,
Spider-Man
for sure.
2, where he's at the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of the movie. So kind of skeptical about that. Is there any characters you'd want to see in the new DCU?
Any characters I'd like to see in the DCU? Nightwing.
I figured.
A proper Nightwing.
Nice blue
Like, yeah, the
symbol
blue
across
symbol,
his chest.
like well casted and like the right attitude towards like how he feels about Batman and like his own, you know, version of justice, if you will.
I will say that I know there's an animated-esque movie coming out with, I think it's Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. So I'm curious how, I think that's going to be a part
And
of
we
it.
did get like a live action for Titans, but I would love to see it in the main DCU continuity, and I would love to see also. It would also be just cool to see the whole Bat family, like the entire.
Oh, I would
like,
love
see
that.
Batman is very established. He's already ripped through all those Robins. They're all
He's already on his
yeah,
fourth
and
one.
like we just see like maybe a newly recruited Damien or something,
Mm-hmm.
where he's still like a little bit on that edge of like, you're not an assassin, bro. Could be fun.
Even if we get like Tim Drake and then that leads into like a new Teen
Or like
Titans movie or
Tim
something.
Drake leaving. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that would be cool. But yeah, obviously, if you don't know, Nightwing's one of my favorite DC characters, so that's why it was a little bit more on the obvious side there for Matt. How about you? Anyone you want to see?
I mean, the fact that we're getting Guy Gardner is really interesting.
Of all the Green
and
Lanterns,
then,
do eh?
well, because Hal and Jon Stewart are getting their own show.
Oh, is it going to be
Yeah.
the main continuity as well?
Yeah, I believe so. Everything's connected to the DCU now.
Okay.
James Gunn has his whole thing, pinpoint, whatever.
Pin particles.
Pin particles, different.
What are you saying?
Basically, he has an idea on how these shows are all going to connect and stuff. So we are going to see Hal and John in one show, and then looks like Guy Gardner. I both enjoy and don't like the look they went with him in the movie, with like the bowl cut. Like it's
Yeah.
very like 90s-esque Guy
I think
Gardner.
that was on purpose.
I think so too. I know James Gunn loves his comic book accurate style characters. You look at the Suicide Squad and the characters that we've seen in Peacemaker. But maybe I don't know. I'd like to see Kyle Rayner. I think that'd be really fun. I mean, he'd be the next one up.
Yeah. You want to see some White Lantern action?
I would love some White Lantern. Honestly, Parallax, like a full, like that
Jumping
full
right in it.
story. Get Hal to destroy the whole Green Lantern Corps, become crazy. Be way too
That'd
much.
be such
way
a
too
crazy
early on.
story. They would have to do a.
Be so much CGI.
They would have to do a Civil War esque like
Yeah.
miniature version of it because there's just so many characters, right? And there'll be a lot of disappointed fans for sure. Rightfully so, but you know how people felt about Civil War 2. Okay, what else we got here? Should we jump into the Marvel world? So I put down a good talking point here, and for you all in the chat, if you be watching some MCU content, obviously we just recently had the Thunderbolts, asterisk, New Avengers, if you will, and we actually just posted that yesterday. So, well, yesterday as of this live recording, 1 week ago as of the edited version of this post. Yeah, it was pretty good. I think we enjoyed it. So my question is Marvel trending up, down, or have they finally stabilized the ship?
I want to say that they were down and now they're on the rise.
Okay.
Because of Daredevil Born Again.
Okay.
Like that one being the big show so far this year, that's on the rise. I think that definitely brought a lot of people back to the Disney Plus shows. I think overall it was a great show. And then Thunderbolts kind of gave me the same feel as that first Guardians movie, in the sense that it was a team that not a lot of people knew about, and it did great. And Thunderbolts, the marketing for it was super unique, and I think that kind of pushed it on its rise. I think it's trending up, but not obviously to what it once was. Obviously, we still have like 4 Marvel products left for the year. So we are going to see if that has an effect on it.
Okay, we have Ebats, who Nerdy Mystic Gaming, shout out. Can Marvel really come back from what it was? And Moon Knight Season 2 looks sick.
Can Marvel come back from what it once was?
I definitely see where you're coming from, Eddie, with asking that question. Can Marvel come back from what it was? Probably not. It hit its peak for sure. It rode that high for a long time as well. It was a good run, great run. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that high. That was kind of like that mix of like the perfect opportunity and moment kind of idea.
I will say in February 2025, there was expressed interest in a second season, but said one was not planned and Moon Knight would return in a future MCU project instead. So we will see Moon Knight again.
So maybe the suit
We just don't
wasn't
know
fake,
where.
Eddie. Maybe you did see some
Could have been
good stuff.
Could have been somewhere.
But yeah, I don't think Marvel will be able to ever hit
Infinity War snap.
Like, even with potentially, I mean, obviously, unfortunately I guess you could say fortunately / unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, with the whole Kang saga, things were not looking good for leading up to it.
Yeah.
People did not seem to love him as a villain. I know there were a lot of people out there that are huge fans of the Kang saga and wanted to see the character and
Kane's a super interesting character.
And see how he was done, right? Because we only saw certain versions of him. We didn't get to see what the Avengers level threat of him would have been.
Yeah, the past, future, super future, young past, future version.
Right, so that could have been, but it did. That was definitely during the era of Marvel trending quite down. So maybe for Marvel, fortunately, things did not pan out with that. But unfortunately, they have not been able to quite build up to the hype for Doomsday.
I think definitely it's unfortunate, but it is riding on Fantastic Four.
A lot
is riding on that film.
Spoiler warning for the end credit scene of Thunderbolts. Asterix. The ship. I've seen a lot of theories about the ship pointing.
It's 4 wings instead of 3.
Pointing out the wings. I saw a fun one, which was Dr. Doom is on the ship. And Dr. Doom is using magic to look like Tony to try and buy the trust of the Avengers.
If that is, I am totally on board with that. And the fact that the Spider-Man movie is the only movie between those for now, That'd be really interesting.
It's a good theory.
That is good. I like that theory a lot, actually.
So that could be good. You know, and the whole thing is that's how he builds trust with the Avengers, because he looks like Tony. And then you could argue like you can just put X random face on top of him to look like the true Doom. And then just have RDJ be him again as the voice when he puts the proper Doctor Doom mask on.
Speaking of stuff like this, Alan Cummings, who plays Nightcrawler, he was Nightcrawler in X2, who's coming back to play Nightcrawlers again. He's like mid-60s. Floop from
Yeah, are you talking about
Kids.
his little slip up?
Yeah, about how he's supposed to be fighting Mr. Fantastic. And I'm like, are we getting an X-Men versus Fantastic Four? Like, or is it going to be like they fight, they come together kind of situation? But
X-Men
also
versus Avengers
could be so much. But just Mr. Fantastic versus Nightcrawler seems like such an interesting fight. Like stretching versus teleportations, but then Mr. Fantastic is like super intelligent.
He's gonna need that observation hockey to figure out
Yeah.
where Nightcrawler's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Because I think it's not the best. I mean, I don't know in terms of durability. I don't know how much Nightcrawler can really do to Mr. Fantastic, but give him a sword.
Give Pirate Nightcrawler.
He'd definitely be
But
cutting.
Shout out to Isaac for sending me that video clip of Alan Cummings talking. I was like, ooh, this could be fun.
What else did we get? We also got the Ironheart trailer. Did you watch that?
Did.
Neutral.
I'm excited for the Hood, who is obviously the villain of the show. It's got a great actor behind it. I can't remember his name
Oh, okay.
for the life of me, but he was in Hamilton. He was in the Heights. He was in the newest Transformer film. Great actor, Anthony something. Can't remember his last name. So I'm excited for his
Hey
performance.
guys, Matt is excited for Anthony something.
Anthony something. I will say Ironheart is an interesting character in the comics. I don't know how the show's going to go. I do find it weird that it's only 6 episodes. I think it's 6 episodes. And they're releasing the first 3 episodes altogether. That does seem a little weird for me.
Could have something to do with maybe it does connect with Fantastic Four in some weird way. Like maybe
that's probably what they're doing
wanna
is they're
rush
ending it
out.
before
Yeah,
Fantastic
make sure it
Four
comes out on time.
It is Anthony Ramos. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. They're probably pushing it to get it out before Fantastic Four, so there's not 2 Marvel products going out at the same time. If for some reason it somehow connects to Fantastic Four, I will be super confused.
Yeah,
Because it just seems but I am curious if this is going to connect to their potential Young Avengers team esque, because obviously there's Ms. Marvel, she got her own show. Slight spoilers for Daredevil Born Again. There's an one-off comment, almost a mini conversation that happens of saying that Ms. Marvel is out in California or something like that. And obviously at the end of The Marvels or a post-credit scene in Ms. Marvel, I can't remember where this happens. She has like that little computer and she's looking at other files, and I think Kate Bishop is in there.
And we've seen Kate Bishop.
And we've seen Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show. So I'm curious if she's going to join this new Avengers-esque team.
I will say,
those,
I'm missing an Iron Man suit level hero.
Yeah, and the Ironheart does fit
And
that.
they just look cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Unless Doom just gives it to us, you know? We
That
could.
infamous Doom suit. I will be so pumped. It does suck because obviously in the Young Avengers lore in the comics, you have a character named Iron Lad who is like that Iron Man equivalent in for the Young Avengers, but they can't really do that character anymore because that character is a young, time-displaced version of Kang the Conqueror, where he's younger, his future version comes to him, and he's like, wow, I don't want to be evil. So then he goes and does his own little destiny thing.
We kind of already saw that in Loki in a way.
So, they kind of played into that a little bit.
Good version, who's
good
like, I don't
version
wanna do
versus, I don't want to be the man at the end of time or whatever they call it.
Yeah, just Fantastic Four in July. A lot riding on it. It's gotta fly off those coattails of Thunderbolt's positivity. I find them to be a bit of a boring team. Their age shows, I think, is the big thing, right? Not that they're bad. I think Reed Richards you could honestly get rid of the rest of Fantastic Four. Just bring Reed Richards over and Doctor Doom. That's all I truly need in the MCU.
Doctor Doom is truthfully an Avenger villain.
He's probably the most important character from that Fantastic Four universe. They've got some great villains, obviously Galactus, who we've seen in the trailers.
Yep, Silver Surfer's pretty dope.
Surfer's great.
Mole Man's a fun character,
good
but
villains. Just
I will say that the Inhumans did start in Fantastic Four,
There you go,
which is a
yeah.
big thing in the comics. Not so much in the MCU. So can't really comment about the Inhumans in the MCU because apparently they're all just going to become mutants. So
fair enough.
that's a spin-off question. Is there a mutant from the comics that you'd want to see on the big screen that we haven't seen before, or one that you want to see on the big screen again?
I want to see a recasted Wolverine. I want to see a not Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and I don't want it to be for 10 seconds.
Fair.
I want to see what someone else can
Recast?
do.
I don't know, man. Give me more X-23.
I know you like X-23.
I think she's a great cast. I think she looked great in Deadpool and Wolverine. I would love just more X-23. Or bring in Dakin. Dakin would be crazy. That is, for those who don't know, that is Wolverine's kid in the comics.
We need the Phoenix. I don't think we've ever seen the
oh,
Phoenix.
no, we've never seen the Phoenix before. We haven't
Phoenix.
seen that a couple times and watch it fail multiple times. Watch them try and bring it in.
They
got to
be willing to go dark if they ever go the Phoenix route again.
Yeah.
They got to be willing to
fully
accept
dark Phoenix.
the true nature of that comic, which is not for the faint of heart. Like, that is a dark comic book.
It's rough because they've done Dark Phoenix twice in the X-Men movies, and the X-Men 90s cartoon did a better way of storytelling. Which is just so unfortunate. Speaking of which, X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men are on Disney Plus now.
Use a happy boy.
I
Are
am
you gonna watch them?
So
Crank 'em
I've
up.
watched the first couple
Of
episodes
course
this
you
morning of X-Men Evolution. That was my first introduction to the X-Men. Before the X-Men 90s
Okay.
show, I got these on like DVD at like Giant Tiger or something. It was like back in the day when you could only get like 4 or 5 episodes on a disc. And I love it. It's just, it's a different version of the X-Men in the sense that most of them are just high school kids, but they all go to the same high school.
We never see in comics
And-
the X-Men being kids
but-
and seeing adults. They never.
Let me
time travel. What?
Let me finish this. They're all teenagers, most of them, except for Wolverine and Storm are teachers at Xavier's place. They all live at Xavier's place, but they all go to a random high school. And your Brotherhood of Mutants are also mostly teenagers, and they all go to the same school together.
Yeah, I remember this show.
Yeah, Mystique is the principal. Such a cliche for Mystique. But, yeah, I was pretty excited when I saw this last night when I was like, oh, when did these come on Disney Plus? And Wolverine and the X-Men just has great voice casting. And just it's 26 episodes. Obviously, it didn't get renewed, so it just kind of ends abruptly. But it's a fun.
It's a fun.
It's a very fun.
Jumping into our anime and manga topics for this lovely stream.
Anime and manga time.
Anime and manga time. So, first of all, Matt, anything you're watching this spring that you've been enjoying? Maybe recommend to the people out there before the spring season ends that they should watch.
Gorilla God's go-to girl.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one you need to recommend, eh?
That I'm loving it, man. I am watching a few different things, which we'll talk about more on the actual spring episode. But Vigilantes is a fun spinoff. If you like My Hero, go give Vigilantes a watch. Yeah, I don't know. I think of the ones that I'm watching, Gorilla God's go-to girl is so random, but I am quite enjoying it.
Okay.
Because it's something kind of new for me, where it's not hardcore shonen,
Yeah, sure.
and it's more like high school kids kind of situation, but there's obviously weird magical powers, but it's all based around different animal cards they pick up. I know I'm butchering this synopsis.
You guys want to go
but-
see that now that Matt has explained such an epic.
Gorilla God's go-to girl. Go check it out. How about you, Connor?
Yeah.
If you had to pick one.
Unfortunately, a lot of the shows I'm watching are actually sequels. But I will say, if I was to pick one show that I'm currently watching that I would say is even worth cranking out the first season for, it's The Apothecary Diaries.
Nice.
Season 2 has just been chef kiss, incredible. Has been just as good as season 1. So that would definitely be my recommendation for this current spring season.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just been such a great show. Such a great show. Unreal.
Stay tuned for June Anime of the Month.
Yep. And then I guess we can do maybe something looking forward to coming up. I don't want to dive too much in because obviously we'll cover the summer season. But Dan to Dan Season 2, Dress Up Darling Season 2. Those are two I am crazy excited about.
I will definitely both of those, but also for me, Kaiju number 8 season 2. I'm pretty stoked for that one. And this is also the year that we finish up My Hero.
In fall.
In fall,
Yep.
yeah.
And Demon Slayer also fall for us. The movie.
Yeah, that also ends.
If it's only
this
one
year.
movie.
Yep, if it is, we'll find out probably in the next couple days because it's currently playing in Japan.
Yeah. So Demon Slayer ending, My Hero ending.
The reason why I'm curious about the My Hero one is because I am curious how the anime will deal with the ending. Because when you're reading the manga, you're following characters, then you just don't see them for like 10 chapters. Jumps back quick for like a chapter, and it's a lot all over the place. I found.
They'll probably do the same way. Think of One Piece.
That is
we went
true.
years without seeing other members of the crew.
Which is wild.
Years. Matt, years.
Sorry.
Troy,
You have a lot of things to need to watch.
Oh, Troy. Yep, there's a lot of good things out there.
Me too, Troy. It's okay. I am like past 250 entries on my anime list, and there are still a lot of big hitters that I have not seen that I need to.
Hey, I'm with you guys.
So
there's still many big shows I have not seen. And when they keep coming out with crazy shows like Frieren and Apothecary Diaries, or even
and animes that we don't think we're gonna get adaptations like Dan to Dan, Delicious in Dungeon.
Like, there's so many good shows also still coming out, and you're like, you want to be part of like the current,
the now.
Yeah, so you want to watch those, and then there's still things.
But you're like, but I need to know about what made this anime popular because of this past anime,
and you want to
so
play
on and
video
so forth.
games, and you also want to do this.
You want to have a
and
life,
that,
go outside maybe, but
no, you don't go outside. What are you talking about?
the outside is scary, inside is
what
good.
What are you talking about over there? Going outside? Heck no. Let's go jump into manga, I guess. This is a great question you have here, Matt, and we'll also put it out to anyone else. This can go for, I'm gonna say, this can go out for comics, reading in general, manga. Do you prefer physical or online reading?
Thought it was the question underneath it. Do I personally prefer
which one would you?
Physical.
Now consider pricing.
Physical.
Still, it's just worth it to you.
To me, it's worth it because nothing.
You don't have a Kindle or anything for your.
Don't have a Kindle. I use the Shonen Jump app to read newest ones that come out, like One Piece, Kaiju, the ones that I follow. I do have a Marvel app that I pay a pricey amount for a year to get access to a lot of older Marvel titles that I can't find the graphic novels for.
To be fair, Marvel graphic novels are
a bit pricier.
Pretty expensive.
I do usually wait for a discount on most of those unless it's like really new stuff that I'm pumped to read.
And for us in Canada, it's not pretty.
But for me, it's always physical. Nothing will beat like buying a new book and that new book smell, for example, or the satisfaction of like finishing a book is so different than just swiping.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, cool, I'm 99% done, and then you're just done it. But it's like when you're like, okay, I only got 5 pages left. How is this going to wrap up? For books specifically, I think physical is better. For comics and manga, I think the aesthetic of the spine
There's
really
some nostalgia
depends.
and when it comes to especially comic books, taking them out of I don't know if everyone has like a cardboard and a sleeve. I know Matt and I had ours cardboard and sleeved. There's just something about like reaching in there, grabbing the comic.
It's so different than just swiping on screen or even in a graphic
definitely
novel.
Enjoyable. Manga, there's something satisfying. I mean, when we used to work together in tourism, on like break and stuff, I would be reading manga and I would bring, let's say, 4 volumes or something, and I would crank that out during my shift, during breaks and whatnot. And there is something satisfying about being like, I ripped through these 4 volumes.
Exactly,
just,
yeah.
But there is a negative, and one thing is sometimes I read the One Piece chapter on the Shonen Jump app.
Yeah.
On my computer, and double page spreads go hard on a screen that can capture it.
I will say, yeah, that definitely is one
Spines
that
ruin it. Like the double
spines
it
do
never
ruin the
looks as good.
double. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Gray, welcome to the stream. Is physical really all that great? Man
It
has
sure
like over
is.
1,000 volumes of manga. So you tell us.
Followed by Danielle saying physical is so much better. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So everyone likes reading physical, but from a financial standpoint, obviously, online.
Oh, financial
so much
standpoint,
better.
it's terrible. But I don't know. I think it's also, for me personally, like new comic book day, new book day in general.
New
is-
book
is
day.
New book day Tuesdays.
I got bad news
is-
for you. Most people aren't paying attention to new book day, Matt.
I know. I am. So for me, it's super exciting when there's like an anticipated book, like the final book in
You
a
don't have to tell me.
series.
I get messages from Matt. It feels like every week, honestly. And it's like, yo, I have to go to chapter. Do you want to come with? I've got this one. And it's like, man, how many Star Wars books are really coming out? It feels like it comes out every week.
I have, with the Star Wars book specifically, I've narrowed it down to a certain time frame of the timeline of Star Wars. So that's a little bit healthier for me. I did stop collecting a lot of the other Star Wars books for that exact reason. But for me, I don't know. I think it's just when I get like if you're getting an audiobook of like the final book of a series,
Okay.
it's just like, I don't know. But for me, it's
I don't-
like,
I don't
hey,
know.
here's the final book. But then I don't know. When it comes to physical too,
What do you
it
know?
opens up the question.
Keep saying I don't know. What do
I
you
don't know.
know?
I'm sorry. Not much. When it comes to physical books, it also comes down to if you prefer hardcover versus softcover. Because like for hardcover, obviously those come out, I'd say 90% of the time when it comes to paperback books, not graphic
And they
novels.
look nice.
They look nice. Hardcover looks nice. But then if you want the softcover, you gotta wait like 6 months.
There's also the special editions of books.
Special edition, the watermark
The
sides.
cool stuff on the pages on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
dangerous.
But then, okay, how about, is there ever a book you buy physically? And I'll put this out to the chat as well. You buy physically, Gray, for you, maybe it's a volume of a manga, the first 1-2 volumes, and you're like, I'm going to give these a try. What if it's not good? Do you buy the series to have the series? Do you just...
Are we talking like the first book of a series, or like
so like
this
for
is
example,
like third
I've
book?
read through the Akatar series recently.
Yeah.
And not that great as you go through. Like,
Did you finish the 5th book yet?
okay, well, okay, I've read through majority of the Akatar series, and you know, the first book is good enough where you're like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
interested in kind of like the world and some of the characters, and then it just starts to teeter off right away.
Yeah.
But if I was to read physically the first book, I don't think I would. Obviously, you would probably just buy the box set potentially, but I don't think I would buy the rest of the books. I think I would just be like, I don't have a Kindle, but if I did, I'd be like, yeah, that's a Kindle. That's a Kindle book for sure.
I think for me, I will buy the first book of a series, and if I enjoy the first book enough, then I'll continue. But if I think the first book is just okay,
Okay.
then I probably won't continue. Because for me, I say I don't want to keep a book series on my shelf that I haven't read yet, but that's a whole other topic.
This is on the
We'll
topic
be getting
list.
into that. I know it's on the topic list. I will say that, yeah, if there's a new book series that's like 3-4 books and people are telling me to read it, I'll read the first one. If it's good, I'll continue collecting it physically. If it's not that good, or I'm like, that was really just okay, then I'll probably just drop the
It
series.
just stays on your shelf forever.
Yeah. It's like watching an anime, you know? If there's like 3-4 seasons, you watch the first season, you're like, wow, that was okay.
But you don't pay for the end. Well, I guess.
Kind of the same, you know. But you see what I mean, though? Like, if the first season is only okay, are you really going to continue watching the rest of the seasons?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Gray with the depending on the length, but I'll stop if it's too long. Okay, and then are you similar to Matt? If it's not it, Chief, you just leaving that on your shelf? You're just like, yep, that's the first 3 volumes of how I became a seller in another world with my banana.
Reincarnated as a banana. Or do you just get rid of those 3 volumes?
Yeah. Do you
Or
try and
however
sell
many-
them or pawn them off?
Yeah.
Definitely interested in that. I guess since we brought it up, we'll dive into the next topic, which is very closely related, which is how's collecting going, both manga, books in general, and 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 for me, I put this as a moat for me, but it's based off of Matt, and that is how goes reading what you own
versus what I'm buying.
versus the stuff that's coming in. Because I know for you, you set a goal for yourself to be a lot better about reading what you already have.
Boy, have I failed at that.
So you've fallen behind on that.
Well, the thing is that for some reason, April and May has a crud ton of books that I've been like waiting to get, or like new graphic novels that are like the final thing or like the beginning of new things. And I'm like, man, I'm so pumped for this. And they all came out like in April. My list of things I wanted to buy that were new, I think was like 15.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, man, like I'm not going to be able to read my X amount of books before then. So I've narrowed it down to like going to chapters once a month and being whatever's out by that time. That's what I'm getting. Call it. But I know it's a terrible thing too. But I want to get back in the habit of reading X amount of books in my collection before picking up things, you know. And that is not like, oh, I need to read like 3 novels, 2 graphic novels, 2 whatever manga volumes. It's as a whole, like say 10 physical things in my thing, because obviously throughout the year I'm buying graphic novels, manga volumes. Like I don't want to just be like, oh, I have to read 10 manga volumes before I'm allowed to buy another manga, or I need to read X amount of physical books before I'm allowed to buy another book.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Like to me, it's as a whole.
Gray mentioning that he has a special corner on his bookshelf for the not continuing to purchase series.
Yeah. Followed by, dude, I wish my monthly buys was just 15. See, now I don't feel as bad.
But he's not buying any books.
No, his is all manga.
His is manga,
based,
and your books sometimes they're not cheap. Some of the proper novels are not cheap.
I will say I keep a spreadsheet of everything I've read so far this year when it comes to it, and I will say that I have read 45 things this year in my collection.
So you have a spreadsheet of what you're reading, but then you also have a Goodreads, which also keeps track of what you're reading.
Okay, so my spreadsheet is broken down like novel, young adult novel, mid-grade novel, manga, graphic novel, poetry, collection, nonfiction, anthology.
Okay.
And then I also have borrowed online in my collection.
Fair enough.
Because obviously I'm borrowing some manga from you. I'm borrowing some graphic novels from a buddy at work. I'm reading some Marvel stuff on my phone. Some manga that I haven't gotten to yet. I'll read that on the Shonen Jump app sometimes.
I'll have to get Gray to bring some manga.
So, I agree. But that's how I kind of keep track of it.
Fair enough.
Just to be like, okay, so like, yes, I've read this X amount of things, but how much of that was my physical collection versus what did I read online? So then I can keep track of like, okay, so I have read this X amount of stuff.
Yeah. For me, obviously not as big into the reading of novels. So pretty much all the novels that I do own have been read. Oftentimes it's something I've already read, and then I was like, that was good enough that I want to own the series. Usually it's a series. Do not own Percy Jackson, but one day maybe I'll. It was good enough, you know.
It was good enough to be on the shelf.
But like, you know, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Dune, those are like some big series that I have read and then I have gotten. Manga is another case. There's definitely a very, very solid chunk of manga that is there that needs to be read. Greg saying a good rule of thumb for him is to have 80 to 85% of his collection read.
I would never buy another book if I had to go up to those numbers. Just saying.
Danielle coming out with I feel like 20% of my collection has been read. So slightly different opinions there. Danielle, you should probably read some of your books. Sounds like that's a lower percentage.
I will say though, like for me personally, there is some manga I read on the Shonen Jump app, and then I went out and bought it. Like
the problem also with manga is you get really into a series, maybe you catch up, and then you totally you're like, oh, I don't feel like reading it weekly, monthly, whatever it ends up, and all of a sudden you're like, it's gone. Like it's in the back of your head, and you just don't go to it again in months,
long forgotten.
You're like,
yeah.
Like even My Hero, I stopped reading for.
You stopped reading for a good few months.
I think it was maybe 9 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I just stopped.
I mean, that's how I feel about Chainsaw Man right now. Where
I haven't read the whole second part.
You haven't read second part. I started second part and I haven't touched it. And I think I'm like 60 chapters behind now.
I think One Piece is one of the only ones that That
up to
and
date
Jujutsu
with.
Kaisen as it was coming out.
Yeah, that's fair. We
I
did
was
read
I
that
was on
weekly.
top of those two, but yeah, man, Black Clover's one where I did end up catching up at the time, and then I have not read it since then, and I've actually recently caught up on the anime. Yeah, I've
Versus the manga?
well, past what I read in the manga. Originally, I watched some Black Clover, and then I was like, I think I caught up to where the anime was, and I was like, oh, I'll read it. Yeah. And then I caught up to where the manga was, and I stopped forever, like until 2 weeks ago, when I then picked up the anime again, and I've caught up to where the anime is, and it took. I think that the anime's been on a hiatus for like over a year,
Okay.
close to a year.
Yeah.
And then, so I haven't read any of the manga yet. And it happens for, this is just the best example because it's fresh in my mind, catching up on this one. But it definitely happens a lot with manga where I'll be like, oh, I'm really into this series. You catch up, or you read a ton of chapters catching up.
You burn
maybe
yourself
to
out.
even when the anime is.
Yeah.
And then you forget about it, and it's
Gone forever.
what it feels like forever.
Gray saying that you're supposed to be reading Dan to Dan, fool.
I do have. Dan to Dan, I've only been reading what comes out physically.
Okay.
That's a certain rule of thumb I've tried to enforce on some of the manga I own is don't read too far ahead because then you don't feel like you're getting it. And I own Dan to Dan, so I've been trying to read it.
So if there's something enjoyable, going to pick
yeah.
up the newest volume from the store.
As English releases come out. But I am a couple volumes, I think 2 volumes behind on that. I'm 3 volumes behind on Dress Up Darling.
5 volumes behind on Record Ragnarok.
I haven't read any of my Yona the Dawn. Yeah, there's definitely a good chunk. I would say I've probably, if we're looking at my manga collection, I'd say I probably have read 75% of what I have.
Can't say anywhere near the same when it comes to the manga collection for me.
Yeah, yours is interesting because the one funny thing for you is we've recently finished collecting Tokyo Revengers. I don't know if you can see it in my camera. No, it's above my
just out of frame.
Yeah, it's out of frame. But just recently finished Tokyo Revengers. Actually, here I'll cheater chan here.
There it is up there.
Yeah. So recently finished that. I've already read the entire series. Previous to honestly, I feel like before the 3rd volume was even out. But Matt was very content on not reading it until he was like the second last volume.
The second to last volume, and then I started it, and then I just I'm on
volume. You could have been reading it this whole time.
2, 3. I'm on the 5th physical volume, so volume 9 to 10, I think, which is around the end of season 1. I will finish it before the end of the year. I call it my Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson, I finished right away when I started it.
The first book, yeah, and then it took you, 9 months?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I finished the first book.
Because you're like, just in time for the first
season.
show.
For the first season of the show.
First season, yeah, and then it was radio silence.
Yeah, and then I finished it right away.
And then you zoom through the sequel, except for the last book. It took a little bit longer, but
that's how it works. That's how things work. You know, you don't push someone into it. You let them. Yeah, you don't make a elephant go to the water. You let him come to the water.
I'll remember that next time when you're like, "Have you watched this anime yet?"
Well, you need the push.
What? I feel attacked all of a sudden.
Hey, I always have someone pushing. Although Gray is usually the one who recommends stuff, but he also knows not to. He doesn't push. He's more like, you should read this or watch this. I know you'll like it. And then he just he leaves the seed where he's like, I've done my part.
Meanwhile, you have a whole list for me. You're like, watch these things.
You haven't.
But I've also asked for it.
You also
have
some sort of attention issue where you're like, ooh, new shiny thing on Netflix that looks like absolute dog.
I'm not like that anymore,
it
okay?
It looks like absolute dog shit.
Ever since I got Crunchyroll,
it looks like dog shit.
stopped
I gotta watch it. That's the Matt special.
That's the old Matt way, okay?
Oh, new anime looks like dog shit. We'll watch over anime I should be watching.
I'm doing my best.
Not that anyone. You should watch what you want to watch, people. But unless you're Matt,
unless it's me,
you're Matt,
then there's a whole different standard.
Unless you're Matt. Other than Matt,
moving on to the
go
next
watch
question.
what you want to watch. Moving on. Yep. Any manga that just started physically that you'd recommend? Okay, so this is an interesting question.
Started is a loose term.
Unlike Gray, I'm not super in touch with what exactly is coming out, when it's coming out.
Yeah.
But some newer series that you may see getting some hype or some buildup as we work towards some of them getting their first anime adaptation, or some that have had anime adaptations that did very well. We have obviously series like Freerin, Apothecary Diaries. You can catch up. These aren't super far. I think it was volume 12 or 13 of Freerin. So not a ton. And I think it's on hiatus now. Can't remember right off the top of my head. But unbelievable series. Very popular now, right now. You could get ahead if you want. If that's your thing, you can. I'm not going to say whether you should or not. We also have Gachi Akuta, which is actually getting its first anime season next for summer. So if you want to kind of be ahead of the game, you can grab that now, and you can be one of those people that's like, yeah, I read it before the anime. We also have, this one's actually only 3 English volumes out, and that's Gokuro Kugai or whatever it is. Yeah. We've actually talked about some of these series with Gray on a past episode of discussing manga that were ending and what manga you should look into next. On top of that, we also have Kagurabachi, which kind of started off as a meme and has exploded. I haven't seen exact dates for an anime, but I would definitely be expecting an anime sometime soon for that as well. And then, as Gray's already mentioned in chat, Dan to Dan, also not that far. Already the second season of the anime is going to be coming out in summer, so you have 2 seasons of anime you'll be able to watch, and you'll also be able to collect it if that's your cup of tea.
For me, I mean, I'm collecting a lot of... I'm not collecting a lot, but I'm collecting various ones that are also coming out that are becoming animes. One is more of a niche one, which is the Disney Twisted Wonderland.
Yep.
That is getting an anime in fall, I think. It's going to be released on Disney+. But that one has 7 volumes, but it's all different. Like, the first 4 are one story. There's 2 anthology volumes, and then there's a new series starting, following a different group. It really depends on what you like, obviously. I mean, I'm reading Go-Go Loser Ranger, which is obviously active. If you're a Power Ranger fan or like a parody style of Power Rangers.
I've heard good things. I heard that the second part of the first season, I think it is a little bit like...
The one that's currently airing.
Like, some people are like, it's a little bit of a lull. But a lot of people say that as the story develops, it gets really good later.
Yeah, I'm collecting it physical. I'll probably wait for this season to finish before I end up watching it, just because I'm also kind of reading it, so kind of whatevs. I do enjoy sometimes reading something and then kind of watching it to see how it kind of differs. I did send the article to you about Go-Go Loser Ranger, where the guy was like, hey, we kind of cut out a small thing, sped some storylines up, just so we can kind of make sure it fits.
About how the flow was. I mean, that's the problem is, like, it's very important to grab that attention early, right?
I think the concept of Go-Go Loser Ranger is pretty fun as a Power Ranger fan. So I'm definitely curious about that.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Do we have any questions in the chat before we'll end off with some questions, and we have a couple little game/tier lists we'll do very quickly.
Yeah.
To finish off the 3-year anniversary of the Nerdy Misfit podcast. So,
and if you guys like this, let us know if you guys want us to do more of these like interactive ones.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already.
If you're not subscribed, you should be clicking that subscribe button.
Click the bell so you get notified whenever an episode comes out, or when Marvel Monday starts, or Friday episodes start. Whenever those come out, who knows?
Expect the Marvel Mondays first, and then the Friday videos a little bit later. We'll call those Fun Fridays.
Roberto with the important question, which is, how y'all so handsome? Well, you see, partly genetics. Facial hair does help.
There's a brief... what?
If you can grow a beard, do it. Do it now.
People that are watching, some of you know what I look like without facial hair.
Grow a beard.
I prefer facial hair.
You don't want to look like Matt without a beard.
What a weird insult, but okay. Gray's got a question. Manga endings, how you feeling about those these days?
It's about the journey.
Yeah.
Mostly. Like, would you be disappointed if the One Piece ending isn't great?
Yeah.
I don't think I would.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to be like, I'm not gonna feel how I felt about Demon Slayer JJK and My Hero, where I'm like, why would you do it that way?
Yeah.
Where I feel like One Piece, there's been so much development of all these characters. If they're like, you know what, here's the One Piece, they all go their separate ways. Part of me be like, you know what? Because I know that Luffy became the king of the pirates, Zoro became the greatest swordsman, Brook goes finds the freaking
Kind
whale.
of know what all their goals were. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like kind of okay if it kind of just ends like that.
Okay.
But if they all die from some crazy thing, then I think if they all die,
They're not
I'll
gonna
be
die,
disappointed.
but
I know they're not going to die, but if it's just some like ending like I don't know.
yeah, I think for me, I've enjoyed One Piece so much that even if I would be not saying I wouldn't be disappointed if the ending wasn't great, but I had so much fun and I love the series so much through multiple years that
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say like I got all the enjoyment I could, like, you know what I mean? But other endings,
Yeah, the 3 I listed, I mean, those are
yeah, it definitely depends. If you see the downward trend, then that's you're almost you're preparing yourself for the worst. Yeah. But in JJK, for example, it just feels like no thought goes in it, and you're very disappointed.
I will say that's disappointing.
Does it ruin the manga for you, or the anime, or does it just play a part in?
I think it
ranking
really depends on the ending, because if for me, for Demon Slayer, for example,
Okay.
I would have loved more because we had such interesting characters that got like very small
And
spotlight,
it was quick. It felt like it wrapped up.
and it was quick. So Demon Slayer, I was like, the ending I think was very lackluster because I was like, man, there's so much more you could build off of. JJK,
Was just a mess.
just a mess. My Hero, little bit of a mess.
I think My Hero was fine. It didn't quite feel good. I wouldn't say the ending was bad per se, but you never in Naruto.
I expected a little bit
in Naruto,
more.
I was like satisfied. There was definitely no satisfaction with My Hero. I kind of felt like there was a part missing. Doesn't ruin My Hero though for me. Like I would still say My
same.
Hero.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Attack on Titan is obviously a big one recently that's ended that
Yeah.
is very split on the ending. I think
Solid ending.
I think the
in my
ending
opinion.
wasn't bad. It wasn't
Yeah.
great, but it was good enough where you're like, okay, you know what? It wrapped it up. And
For
ending a series and ruining it is a lot
Yeah.
worse than just having an ending that's a bit more wasn't quite satisfying, but it doesn't ruin the whole story.
Yeah. I would say I've read a bunch. I haven't read like an insane amount of manga in comparison to you or Gray, but I will say probably my favorite ending to the mangas I've started, like start to finish, probably Promised Neverland. I think has one of the best endings I've read,
Okay.
where I don't want to
I
spoil
thought
it,
season
'cause
2 was pretty good too.
at the end of the stream. No I'm kidding. For manga, I think Promised Neverland has one of the better endings I've seen from stuff I've read. Well, first off, I think Promised Neverland is a insanely great story that hyped me up every week when I was reading it weekly, and then I think it has a special part because that was like my first box set I bought.
Okay, yeah, it has like a nostalgia factor to you.
Yeah, so I don't want to get too much, but I think like Tokyo Ghoul. How'd you think of that ending? Like the end of Re, I should say.
I think the full ending.
Full ending of Tokyo Ghoul.
It was acceptable. It was a bit of a cluster F near their end, but it
Did get pretty.
ended okay. Claymore, similar thing, had kind of like just
Yeah.
a wow, that escalated a lot more than I thought it was, and
It feels like it's one of those things where like, oh my gosh, they're running out of pages, and they're like, okay, we just need to.
It's a combination of I feel like a lot. Obviously, these are series that they're trying to keep people
Yeah.
reading it, and I think they end up trying to outdo themselves, and it kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh in the sense of like balance, where like, well, we need to make something even better than the last meta, and then we need to make something even better, and it just starts getting more and more ridiculous. And that's
Yeah.
how the same thing for the power scaling in a lot of shows, where you're just like, oh,
Definitely.
we're getting a little bit out of control now.
Next question comes from Matt Lewis here. Thoughts about Darth Jar Jar?
It's quite the theory.
I think it's priceless.
You love the theory?
I think
You're a subscriber?
I subscribe to Darth Jar Jar. I think it's a really fun theory. We've seen it in a spin-off thing,
Yep.
in the Lego thing, where
You
there's
gotta
Darth
love
Jar
that
Jar.
even like Star Wars content kind of.
They're playing
they
into
like
it.
the meme.
We do see Jar Jar alive later on in a novel where he is just a street jester, and that's it. I know originally J.J. Abrams was going to do an Easter egg in one of the movies where we just see Jar Jar's skeleton laying around somewhere
Okay.
to be like, he's dead, guys, move on. But I think Darth Jar Jar is such a wild concept. Not the most wild, because there's even a theory that's more wild than that, which is Darth Watto. And I think that's insane because the Watto is the guy that was holding Annie and his mom in Phantom Menace as slaves. Which is just wild to begin with.
I
But
like
yeah,
seeing
Darth
I like
Watto is
seeing memes of him where they're like, "I own Darth Vader."
yeah.
I owned him, and people are like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever, dude.
All right, should we jump into some of our little more fun things we've got planned here to finish off the stream?
Where are we gonna start? Do you want to start?
I will start off by switching off to our presentation here. Is this Annie Dill? Anadil? How do you say it?
Annie Dill.
Annie Dill?
Annie Dill.
Anadil. Are we saying
It's
it
like
the same?
anime.
I can't tell.
Annie.
Am I challenged here? Like
Dill.
Anadil and Annie Dill?
Because it's like
It'll,
no, because it's like word dull.
Anadil.
So is it like Annie Dill?
Look, I'm asking you the questions here.
I know I found it, but it's probably Annie Dill.
Anadil.
Anyways,
Anadil.
sound. Gray is saying sound.
Oh, there's no
sound.
All right, so
Okay,
Anadil.
so Anadil.
You guys missed our whole discussion. Well, actually, if you're listening / watching the podcast on the Wednesday release, you'll hear
You'll hear
it.
the audio for it.
If you're in the
Anadil,
stream,
Anadil.
You have no idea what we just did, but it's
Anyways.
Anadil. Okay. Anyways,
We'll give it up.
If
Anyways,
you're new around here and never done one, it's kind of like Wordle in a way, not quite the same puzzle format, but
it's
it's
anime.
a puzzle. We got to figure out what anime it is.
Exactly. I just go with Delicious and Dungeon. It's the anime of the month.
No,
Always a
not doing,
good
it's
starter.
a bad start. Don't listen to Matt.
What are you starting with?
I start with something right in the feels and nostalgia for a lot of people, and that's Fooly Cooly. And reason being is, okay, as you guys just saw, I put in Fooly Cooly, and it has totally glitched out on me. That's just messed up. It didn't like that. Okay,
But I got it.
so Fooly Cooly. Reason being is, one, if it's older than 2000, for my experience so far, I will say that it usually picks a little bit more known anime.
Yeah.
It's not super out there. So if it's under 2000, the options start getting smaller.
That's fair.
If it's above 2000, there's a lot of options.
Where we're sitting.
But we get a lot of genres here. We got action, sci-fi, suspense. Themes are psychological, years 2000, and it's not an original. Unfortunately, I think Psycho Pass is in fact an original, but I cannot remember for the life of me, so I'm going to put it in. Okay, my guess has gone to the Shadow Realm.
Okay, it's oh wait.
It's 2012. Let's go.
Action, sci-fi, suspense, psychological again. So what else did Erased come out in 2012? That's not really sci-fi. Well, I guess it's time.
Lower than an 8.
I think Erased. Or is Erased newer than 2012?
Might be newer.
We should put Erased, I think.
All right, Matt says Erased.
2016, yeah. But it's a manga, so we got that, which is pretty,
Psychological, suspense, chat. Any chatters out there?
Gray.
Suspense, action, sci-fi, 2012, manga. Lower than an 8.04. It is 2012. Suspense. Always not my typical genre.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can name half a dozen maybe, but they're not. 2012. Roberto with the B-Stars.
Yeah, B-Stars is very new.
He knows all about the
Don't know if I put sci-fi for B-Stars either.
no. B-Stars is a whole breed of itself.
Don't know if I put B-Stars for the sci-fi aspect. Or action, for that matter.
Some action scenes in there.
Action,
Not action focused, but
sci-fi. suspense,
Psychological is the theme.
psychological, throw me off. Gray mentioning that score is something to think about. Lower than an 8. Probably not as...
If there was not sci-fi, I would definitely put like Banana Fish or something. But again, I'm not good when it comes to years of anime.
But that's sci-fi, not sci-fi.
That's what I mean. If it wasn't sci-fi, Banana Fish is definitely something I would toss in there.
Okay.
When was Kogias? That was earlier in the 20s.
It's also original.
Also not Mecha because of Fooly Cooly.
All right, people. Anyone have any suggestions in the chat, Matt?
Nothing.
Guys, help us out here.
Parasite, but the score is probably too high. We'll put Parasite. That's what Gray's saying, even though he thinks the score is going to be too high.
Parasite.
2014. But we got Gore added.
Wow.
By Madhouse.
Oh, we got Gore and Madhouse. Okay.
I'm lost completely. You say Gore and
What did Madhouse have come out in 2012? No idea. Gotta hit the memory bank now. What year did Helsing Ultimate come out? Helsing Ultimate. 2006. Little off. Does have Gore, though.
when did Attack on Titans?
Attack on Titan's not by Madhouse. It's
Again, I also don't know studios like that either.
by Wit.
I did know that. I'm an idiot.
No. Don't say that about yourself. Think positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. Yeah, this is the one issue where if you don't watch anime when it comes out, the year
is like lost to you.
The years start to mean nothing because you're just like, well, I watched it.
The years start coming, or they don't stop coming, folks.
Like, I watched it during X.
Oh, we got one. Paranoia Agent. That's what Gray's saying. Asking if it's Madhouse. We're about to find out.
That is a Madhouse. It is. I know that for a fact.
Oh boy.
No.
We got
2004 for Paranoia Agent.
We got it's lower than a 7.6.
Lower than a 7.6. Not making it easy for us over here. Yeah, I think Overlord is a light novel. So, kind of takes that out of the equation.
Definitely going to be something I've never heard of before.
No. You think they would do that to you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you might be onto something. We managed to get lucky and get quite the tough one.
At what point do I skip to the first clue?
I don't even know if the first clue would actually help us.
Yeah, it's usually just a clouded version of the...
I think it's almost all that's exclusively what it is, but...
Yeah. You want to click it?
Shall we give chat just a few more?
Troy's asking if we're allowed to cheat yet. No.
If we're allowed to cheat,
Well,
we're not cheating.
I'm ready to cheat.
We're not cheating.
Well, I mean, I'm ready to click on that first clue.
I just don't know if the first clue is really going to give us what we need.
You know, we don't know until we try.
2012. Man, I can't get One Punch Man out of my head, but it's way too highly rated.
One Punch Man psychological?
In some ways. Mind over body, you know?
Is One Punch Man lower than a 7.6?
I just told you, it's definitely higher.
Ray saying get the clue.
Get the clue from Gray. Okay, we'll get the clue.
Okay, skip to the first clue.
Oh, God.
All right, Gray, what is it?
Tell us, Gray.
That did nothing.
It's someone wearing green.
A tomb is what Gray's saying.
How do I spell it?
BTOOOM.
Tomb.
Tomb. There it is.
Gray coming in clutch.
Action, sci-fi, spent, gore, high stakes game, psychological, survival.
I've never even heard of this.
Never have I.
Think I've maybe once heard of it. The community average was 5,400. I feel like we need to do a past one to make ourselves feel better. Okay. Should we start off with a different opening one? Code Geass? It's going to have like a kajillion ones. Let's go with Lelouch of the Rebellion.
Kogias.
Action, drama.
Newer than 2006.
2006.
Lower than an 8.7.
Lower than 8.7.
And it's not an original.
It's not a mecha. military, school, or superpower. It's not award-winning. It's not a sci-fi, but it is action drama. Action drama, newer than 2006.
Not school either. Once I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, school, but not school. Not sci-fi either. Where he's got Bogey Pop. Boogie Pop. Pop and others.
I'm going to do the one under it, but I think it stands for the same thing.
Drama, suspense, psychological. Higher than a... Okay. What if we just put in what we just...
It's lower than 2019. Drama, suspense.
If it's another 2012...
Steins Gate?
No, Steins Gate's got to be higher, though, right?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, higher than an 8.7. You're right. You're right.
Not Steins Gate. Let's just put Batum again.
It's not going to be Batum again. What do you mean?
Well, but because...
And it's not Madhouse. Silly Goose. We can do...
Attack on Titan?
We can do Erased.
Newer than 2016.
Not time travel.
Not time
Based off of
travel.
manga. Higher than an 8.3.
But lower than 8.7.
Suspense,
So-
psychological, based off of a manga, newer than 2016. I don't know what this rating is. I'm going to say Death Parade? I don't know what year this came out. Could be 2014. I'm not sure.
2015. Mob Psycho, maybe?
Yep. Death Parade's by Madhouse. Did not realize that.
Let's try Mob Psycho 100.
We're also guessing a lot of the similar years here. But we're in between 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, and it's higher than an 8.1, but lower than an 8.4. So actually, no, it's higher than an 8.3, but lower than an 8.49. Action, drama, suspense, psychological manga that came out in 2017, 2018.
Sheesh, these are tough.
And we don't have the studio, right? No, we don't. Something by Wit maybe in this time?
You have a couple big studios out. No Bones,
Yeah.
no Madhouse, no A1. Drama, suspense, action.
Psychological.
Always with the psychological.
My go-to is just guessing the animes we've seen for Anime of the Month.
Who did Banana Fish, though? For studio. I don't remember.
It's relatively newer, though, no?
Yeah, it's not about the newer. It's about, I can't remember what studio did. I want to say it was maybe Madhouse, but maybe it wasn't. I can put Banana Fish.
Yeah, Banana Fish, see what happens.
And it is action.
It actually banana.
Is it? You got it.
It's Banana Fish.
Mappa, that's who did it. Right. Very well done, Matthew.
Thank you. I was like, I know it's mid-8.
All right, moving on. We'll do the Squirtle. Never done one of these. Who's the Pokemon?
Yeah, we'll just do...
Gonna need
might be different than ours.
Gonna need significant help on. They might be different.
Yeah.
They're not the same for the day.
Well, it's, if we do try the daily one at the bottom, or we could just do a new game.
Try Squirtle Daily. All right.
Okay. So we got 9 guesses left to figure out which Pokemon they're talking about. This could be any of the 9 gens, I'm pretty sure.
I'm
so
effed.
I think we should go for Gen 3, and then we could, because it tells you what gen, the weight, the height, and the typing. So I feel like if we pick a Pokemon from like Gen 3 or Gen 4, we can kind of base it
Jirachi
on
it is.
gens. I think that was...
The gens, right?
Okay, so we got Gen 3. It's
Type is orange, which means it's one of those types.
It's psychic. So
point's
because
still
type 1
psychic.
is steel, type 2 is psychic. So it's a psychic Pokemon from Gen 3.
Okay. And the weight obviously is higher. And
So-
height is obviously higher because we didn't exactly pick A.
Deoxys?
We're just jumping legendaries here, I guess. All right. Deoxys, sure.
Okay, so it's a single type Gen 3 psychic. It's shorter than Deoxys, but higher than Jirachi. What psychic Pokemon in Gen 3 is Shorter than 1.7, but higher than 0.3. What other psychic type is in Gen 3? Oh, the Ralts line.
Curlia? But they might count as fairy.
Oh, it is Psychic Fairy, yeah. Is Ralts just basic, though? No, Ralts is Psychic Fairy as well.
Dang fairy type.
Yeah.
Didn't exist back in the day. A flat psychic type. That's actually tough. That bear is
Mischievous.
Ghost.
Just Ghost.
little teddy bear guy. He's normal.
That's also Gen 2.
No, not Teddy Ursa. The guy with the squiggly eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Splinda or
Is that Snake Psychic?
No.
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 It's Viper?
He's not psychic. Poison.
Oh, Gray said Spoink.
Spoink or Grumpig.
The dang spring Pokemon tries. Okay, let's go for Spoink.
Height is smaller than Spoink.
What is smaller than Spoink but higher than Jirachi?
Spoink is a height of 0.7 to be determined what they are giving us for measurement there. But
And Jirachi is 0.3. So 0.4, 5, or 6.
And it is less than 30 pounds, I'm assuming that is.
Chimecho is what Gray is saying.
I don't know.
It's probably Chimecho, yeah. We're about to find out.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, we got the height right.
The weight is higher.
Oh, why not? That's also Gray's answer.
Well done.
Go. Thanks, Gray.
Do we have an applause button? I don't think we do.
I don't think we do now.
Well, couldn't have done that without Gray.
There is other ones to do on this, but I think it's just...
Yeah, valid. Moving on. First tier list. We're going to crank through these. We've got...
We're not going to discuss it too much. We're just going to go boom, boom, boom.
Yep, get the raw reaction here. We got Miss Vicky's flavors.
Miss Vicky flavors.
So, we've got sweet chili sour cream. C tier for me. How are you feeling? Okay, how about we do S tiers for us first, then make it easy on yourself. Barbecue?
Barbecue. The purple one?
Both of them, to be honest. Why am I using my You could just zoom in, you know.
I could, but
You have the technology.
I do have the technology.
How do you feel about the honey Dijon?
Never had it.
I'll put it a D. Not what I'm looking for in a chip, to be honest. Jalapeno, S.
Never had it.
There's no way you've never had the jalapeno.
I've only had like
I'll
the
put it
core
in A
4
then.
flavors.
That is one of the core 4 flavors for sure.
No, it's not.
Okay. How many chatters are out there right now? Have you had Miss Vicky's jalapeno? Am I crazy here? Is this not one of like the go-to flavors of this chip?
Telling you, it's not in like that box you buy where there's like 4 or 5 different flavors and like the small sizes.
I think the sea salt and vinegar and malt vinegar, that's like a B. Like it's just like a solid chip.
I would say A. I really like that one
All right.
personally.
Then we have, what's the other balsamic? Balsamic vinegar and sweet onion. C. Original. D. Not what I'm looking for, you know?
Not when you're doing Miss Vicky's, not your roasted.
Sour cream and caramelized onion.
Yeah.
Harvest cheddar and herb. Haven't had it. I'm expecting that it would be probably pretty good. I'm gonna say B. We got lime black pepper. I do not like lime on my chips.
No? I do.
C. Spicy ketchup. Sweet and spicy ketchup. No?
Ketchup shouldn't be spicy.
That's valid. D. Dill pickle. D. Spicy dill pickle. D.
Spicy.
All right. That's it. This is the de facto tier list. It is the right answer. This tier list is labeled as chocolate spelt wrong, Canadian spelt wrong,
Also spelt wrong.
tier list maker, chocolates. Once again, let's rip through this. Actually, it's French, so it's right. Mr. Big, nostalgia factor, S tier.
Reality, B or C.
I think probably B.
Toblerone,
A.
A is pretty good. M&M's, C,
Peanut M&Ms, B.
B.
Almond M&Ms,
Hershey.
S if it was on here. Hershey's cookies and cream, nostalgic but not that good. Hershey's chocolate.
Nostalgic, definitely A, but we're too old to be eating the cookies and cream.
Hershey's chocolate just not good. I'm gonna say C.
If it's the almond Hershey's, A.
Ferrero Rocher, S.
S.
Butterfinger, D.
Butterfinger, I prefer Crispy Crunch.
Caramel, S.
S. I ate so many of those
Crunchy,
in our
C.
D for me. I don't know. I'm not a toffee kind of
I
guy.
like it.
Basic Hershey's, D.
Twix, A.
A for nostalgia.
Dairy Milk, S.
S.
Reese's,
Reese peanut butter, S.
nah, I'm gonna put an A.
Oh, Henry.
I just don't like the
Also-
peanut butter. Like
No?
nostalgia, is there, but when you actually taste it and you taste like actual peanut butter next to it, you're like, wow, real peanut butter is just so much better.
Yeah. O Henry, A. The O Henry Reese's,
Lint, the little lint chocolate.
S.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Kinder, S.
S.
Arrow, B. Yeah, that's fair. Kind of a letdown chocolate bar, to be honest.
It really is. I think as a child, you're like, wow, this is so good. But you're like,
Mars.
so much for
was
like,
this called something else in the States, or was it the other chocolate bar? Three Musketeers, because we did a tier list kind of similar.
yeah.
A.
Mars.
I like nougat. I like caramel.
That's fair.
Kit
Respect
Kat,
it.
S.
S.
But
Smarties?
Canadian Kit Kat with proper
Oh,
chocolate,
yeah,
not American
yes.
Kit Kat with the Hershey's chocolate. Smarties?
Smarties, A.
Hey, really?
I love Smart. I prefer Smarties over M&M's.
I'm gonna put the.
So it's got to be higher than M&M's.
But it can be with peanut M.
Yes.
Crispy Crunch.
Love it.
D.
Bigger Turk.
D.
Yep.
One
to buy.
D. Coffee Crisp. B. When we had it, it
Yeah.
tasted so much more fake than I remember.
That's fair.
Rolo. A.
A.
We really like chocolate and caramel. Score.
Gray coming out saying Smarties are trash.
C. C or D for score.
Score, yeah.
This is the de facto tier list, accurate to 100%.
I freaking love Smarties, guys. I'm sorry. Troy also agreeing that.
Thank
with
you.
Gray saying
Thank
that
you, guys.
Smarties
You
are
understand.
trash.
You understand how wrong this Matt guy is, and I respect that. I respect your guys' opinions.
Okay, this final tier list, I'm very confused about this one.
Canadian stereotypes ranked.
Like how funny they are, how stupid they are.
How accurate they are. How should we do this? Let's just do how much we like that stereotype.
Egg glue, D.
I think it's
stupid.
C. I kind of like it.
Okay. Maple syrup, S.
Yeah. Oh, this is what's this game called? You played in elementary school.
Foursquare.
Foursquare. I've never even heard this as a stereotype, so I'm gonna put D.
Yeah. Did not know this
I'm
thing.
assuming this is just snow, like weather.
Yeah.
C.
C with the egg glue.
Just not accurate.
KD.
A. Donuts. Or no, these are beaver tails.
Beaver tails. S.
I'm gonna put A. It's kind of just fried dough and stuff on it. Like A, S tier. I feel like
Canadian
I feel like
healthcare?
we say A all the time, and you never even notice until
No, it just happens.
Canadian healthcare. Well,
Gotta go for S. Gotta love that
I'm gonna put it in
healthcare.
the middle. You know, you gotta wait.
B it is.
But it is free, so I mean, sorry.
This one
You
for me it's S tier. I say that way.
you say it too much, but I feel like I'm putting sorry in the realm of also just politeness. And honestly, there's not that many. I feel like
So it goes with the healthcare, very
Yeah,
middle
I feel
ground.
like-
Some Canadians are super nice.
There are some nice. There's just nice people and not nice people, and they're in every country. Tim Hortons. If we're basing it
wait,
off
we
of how
got-
much I like the coffee, D.
D.
If we're ranking it on, is it literally everywhere? Absolutely, it is. I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah. I
Actually,
brought
we
back my
should-
favorite
We should
Timbits.
just go S. S for Tim Hortons. A.
It's
I
A.
feel like we should move Beaver Tails down one because now we have 3 different foods all in.
Sure, we'll move Beaver Tails down. A has to go in A, says Gray. And then no has to go in A even if it's S.
Foursquare. Okay,
Fair.
it has to go in A. A has to go in A. You guys are right. You're right. Okay, we'll put A in A. And we'll put Tim Hortons in S. Because, well, it is.
Is that what he was talking about, though? I don't know.
It is everywhere.
It is everywhere.
I'm also going to say hockey S.
S. Justin Bieber
B for Bieber.
used to be so Canadian focused, but yeah, definitely B.
B or C? C. This is our Canadian stereotypes ranked tier list. How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Maple syrup S, Tim Hortons S, hockey S. Perfect.
KD, A. Healthcare, sorry, Beaver Tails for B.
Igloo, cold weather, Justin Bieber
Justin
C.
Bieber.
Foursquare.
And then Foursquare D. I loved playing Foursquare a lot
I had
when I
no
was
idea
younger.
that was a Canadian stereotype.
I didn't know either.
The
but
more you know.
The more
The
you
more
know.
you know.
Before we wrap up, obviously we still got a little bit of time here. It's because it's not on a time limit. Do you guys have any questions at all?
Yeah, any questions
Any
in the
questions?
chat? We'll answer those before we say our goodbyes. What are we? We're like roughly
About an hour and a half.
It's been a good stream. No complaints.
Be fun to edit.
Yeah, you're gonna have to actually do cuts, a lot of cuts for once. It'll be a good time.
Gosh, I got Monday off. Plan on doing this more. Live is nice, Gray asks. I'm up to do it. I think this is a lot of fun. It makes my post-production a lot more stressful. But, again, this could also be a random Friday thing where it's just live and that's that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a podcast thing. It could just be a discussion. We obviously want to do some more reaction to whether it's, trailers for stuff or giving a quickie opinion. So could be nice to hop on to do those instead of having to maybe try and focus a whole podcast around something that doesn't make sense for a podcast. But yeah, we're definitely down for doing more live episodes. They are definitely fun. Obviously, it helps immensely if the chat is a little bit bumping, which honestly, it's been,
You guys have been doing pretty
for our
good.
first
today.
ever stream, I'd say it's been pretty good. We've had a couple different faces joining us, saying hi and giving their 2 cents. No complaints here. I just think maybe next time we'll have a more organized topic so people can come in with questions related to that topic or thoughts on that topic. Troy also saying he likes it. No bias.
Not biased.
Once again, Troy, every Tuesday, live streaming, Nerdy Misfit Gaming.
Thanks
Check it
for
out.
Troy for chatting about the upcoming live stream that we're doing right now on.
Yeah, he brought it up, mentioned
So
us.
you brought it up a couple times. It was good.
But doesn't look like we got any other questions.
Troy, are you liking Pokemon? We'll ask the chat question.
Oh,
Troy, are you liking
Pokemon.
your stream of Pokemon so far? Obviously, it's a different than Spider-Man, but I tuned in a couple times and you were not doing too hot, and it was rough. While Troy answers that, Gray's asking, plan on going to any conventions? We got two. Well, we got one together, and then I'm going to one separately.
Yeah, we're going to Anime North with Gray and a friend. Gray and friend.
Gray and friend.
And Matt will also be attending the Niagara Comic-Con.
I'm only going to be there for like an hour and a half, kind of test it out. I'm going on a Friday. Not too much happening there.
Yeah, both of them are going on a Friday.
Yeah.
Mostly just kind of taking a look, seeing what's there. We don't want to splurge. Trying to avoid splurging. So just kind of take a look, won't get anything you can't get. We're not going to pick up some manga that you can just get at Chapters.
Chapters or something like that, yeah.
No pop figures, nothing like that.
I will say, too, I went to a mini convention last weekend that was just local. Just a bunch of local vendors with Pokemon TCGs and One Piece TCG stuff. A lot of Funkos, a lot of Pokemon cards. Some was just like a free thing. I don't know. I bought a couple things. I bought like these 6 Pokemon 3D printed things. You can't really see it behind me. Well, you can kind of a little bit. I don't know. Is that in frame?
Yep.
I'm gonna grab it. We got a little baby.
Little color looks like he's been in the sun. Looks like he's been sunbathing. Troy with that ROM hack is so hard. I did watch Troy you trying to catch the Beldum for a good, I don't know what it was, like 5 minutes. Looked like a rough time.
So when he was just going against, I think it was the Aqua Grunts. It was not pretty. But he stuck with it, and he ended up kicking their butts eventually. So
Up to the second badge. Well, he's working his way. Oh, gray with that's just shiny Eevee.
Shiny Eevee.
Brilliant.
I hate it because it's not entirely inaccurate because Eevee's literally is just a
Is it shiny Eevee or is it
badly printed Eevee.
hard to say?
Some
We'll lie to ourselves and say it's shiny Eevee.
Shiny Eevee.
Very cool, man. You got a shiny Eevee.
Must be similar to that shiny Gengar I have.
There you go. Nice. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap up the stream here. It's been fun. It's been a long one. A lot of work for Matt, for sure. Hopefully, if everyone enjoys these, we'll try and do it more often. Hopefully, the stream was all right for the audio listeners. I know maybe perhaps the tier list we went through too quickly and you may have not caught on to the end. But if you made,
Let us know in the Discord.
if you made it up
what
to
you
the
thought.
end, and we did our apologies. We will do better for the next one.
Because there's going to be another one in the
There will be
future.
another one
It's
for
like-
sure.
But yeah, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, following, just being here on our 3-year journey. It's been a great time.
Did you think we'd make it to 3
Not-
years? All
I'm gonna
honesty.
be honest, didn't even think we'd make it to half a year.
Yeah, I do think it's episode like 20 where we're like, man, we made it to episode 20. That's crazy.
Yep.
And now here we are approaching episode like
Yeah,
106,
we're almost at 160. So,
which is
and we
crazy.
can't do it without your guys' support as well. It's been great.
Tolerating us.
Especially just seeing the growth of where we started audio quality wise, moving into better audio, figuring out different audio
Video
issues,
eventually. Yeah.
moving into video, figuring out that, having Teching 101 on the channel. It's been a great time. Hopefully have more guests. Hopefully we'll see Gray and Troy again as well. And yeah,
Maybe some new faces.
you want to
That's the
hit
plan.
our outro button?
Sure can.
Bye.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.